And you cannot be successful holistically if you're not generous and you don't serve others. You just can't. Seriously, and it's just true. Show me a person who's made, 40 million dollars by selling a tech company, and they don't do philanthropy, they don't serve in very specific ways, and I'll show you a person who's miserable. Guaranteed, 100%. It's
Yeah.
just unnatural for us to not share. So I tell my clients before you have a big exit, before you make your $1 million or so, decide where you're going to give.
Welcome, Christian Ray, to the Pay Me and Plane Tickets podcast. I'm your host, Jelani. I'm so glad to have you on here. And to give you a little bit of a brief introduction, this podcast is full of travelers who are looking for little tidbits and moments and points and why travel is important and how it can also impact their life. And I want to give a little bit of a sound to Christian, who is the founder of Exponential Life. He's a life coach, a leader, and I will say a friend of many, a friend of mine. And I'm just glad to have him on and kind of to get his story, how travel has impacted him, and how travel also positively impacts his business venture and also sort of the empowerment of people. Um, as I would like to say, it's probably a really sound moxie or mission of yourself. So, welcome, Christian, and I'm glad to have you on.
Jelani, you're a good man. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's start a little bit from the beginning. Can you kind of give us a little bit of background of where you originally hail from?
I am sort of an international guy. So Russia, Chile, Germany, Africa, Russia, Ukraine. This is my sixth country. This is my fourth continent. So travel is in my blood. I traveled when I was 6 months old. That was my first transatlantic. So
Life on the move.
life on the move. That's right.
On the
I
move.
visited over 41 countries so far and
Sweet.
counting.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing to grow up with. I get that. It also, I guess, in your younger years, did it feel like overwhelming, or did you know that there was a little bit of power in
No, I did not. I was really more miserable and confused. I was confused more than anything.
which I can understand.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But do you think it probably gave you a little bit of edge because you had to, I guess, learn how to blend in with different type of cultures and societies?
Yeah, yeah.
It did.
Yeah, I mean, at the time I didn't think it because you're a kid, but I was more, as I said, truly, really more confused. Like I remember I landed in Mozambique, which is Southeast Africa. My dad had gone before me to sort of set things up, and my family moved there. I was there for 7 years, my formative years. But I first landed. It was literally my fourth country by age 7, right? And it was like, and so dramatically different. So it's three different continents, four countries. And my dad tells me that I was quiet for the first year. Like I just wouldn't speak in public with anyone. And he asked me, he was worried about me. And he asked me, like, hey, what's going on? He goes, I'm like, Dad, I feel like I don't speak the language. I don't know how to fit in. And, it's just too much. Like I think I was just sort of in survival mode. But eventually I caught up. And I think that deep desire, especially for when you're young, to fit in, right? It and in over and then you overlay that with like four countries by age 7 in so different languages and like body language, cultural nuances, all of them different. It sort of I think gave me the ability to read people, both read people and understand them, and also really appreciate and love people and different perspectives and cultures. So I think that was sort of that was a superpower that came out of it. I learned four languages by age 9. So I spoke Spanish, Portuguese, Russian, and English, and still speak all four actually. So definitely a gift.
No, it is a superpower. That is definitely you're definitely probably overpowered in a way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. A lot of advantages in life come from that. That's for sure. Yeah.
What was the reason behind your frequent travels?
Oh,
As
it was political unrest and drama. basically. I was a refugee at age 5. My dad was in a concentration camp in Chile, and there was a military coup there. We ended up in a UN refugee facility. Then we sort of were kicked out of,
Yeah.
among 200,000 people were kicked out of the country at that time. So we got asylum in Germany, back to Russia. Soviet Union was not fun. We lived in a communal apartment. And then my dad got this job in Mozambique, which was also just got its independence from Portugal. So it was like nothing worked in the country when we arrived. Nothing, like there was nothing. And it was really cool to see all these expats come in from all over and help them get back on their feet. Um, but it just happened to coincide my travels with a lot of unrest. It was a
Yeah.
military coup in Chile. There was when we got to Africa a year later, a civil war started, and it was mostly guerrilla warfare up north. My dad had he was a head of a transportation company, and they had these fleets that transported seafood, and he would come home and say, "Hey, yeah, this blew up another one of our trucks." Killed our driver, that sort of thing. Like those were dinner conversations, right? And we had bombings in the city, all diversions, bombings, things like terrorist attacks. So you sort of grew up with a lot of instability
Yeah.
that way, and that also had an imprint on me as well.
I like that you put it that way because it was unstable. That's why you were moving around a lot. That
Yeah, it was very unstable. Yeah, and then eventually there was another sort of instability event. My parents got divorced, and that sent us back to the Soviet Union with my sister and my mom. So raised by a single mom since the age of 14. And that was like the most stable place you would think, like the the mothership of Marxist communist
yeah.
bloc. And the whole thing came crushing down in 91. So I actually saw that too. Tanks in the streets again, again, an attempted coup. There's all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm like, I think civil unrest follows wherever I go. And I'm a little worried about Austin, Texas right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
Something's gonna happen.
I was gonna ask, where are you right now? So I know where to
Exactly.
put
Yeah. You should be concerned if you live in Austin.
No, but yeah, no, all jokes aside, that's very an unstable upbringing, but in a way, you kind of had to withstand it and build character throughout all of these
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
moments in I guess these like unfortunate travels. We always see travel on
Yeah.
a particular positive side, but that type of travel does exist. There does exist
Yeah.
the person's getting shipped around because life is just it's really a hair fling away from falling.
Yeah, exactly. But that gives you a lot of, you gets you a lot of grit. Okay. So, and it came in handy quite a bit actually in life where there's just not a lot of things that scare me. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
And even in the things that you want to do just for others, philanthropy is like a big part of my life. I just love helping the poor. And in different seasons in life, I've been able to do things that I'd say most Americans, if you grew up here, they probably wouldn't do it. They will give them pause.
Yeah.
So, like, I was, VP for a big charity, and we had projects in 9 different countries in Latin America. And I would go into like this favela in Brazil where the drug lord is there's just no law. And we barely escaped with our lives. There was like a SWAT attack from the police, and the drug lords I mean, all these 16-year-olds with AKs and assault weapons start streaming out, and we're in the middle of it. I had so many stories like that. I would just go to places where most people don't want to go because I realized that the risk is actually, there's risk, obviously, right? But it's really fear that prevents you from going there more than there's real risk. So a calculated risk. So I would go to places like that, in the mountains in Guatemala or something like that, Mexico, barrios where people really don't go, Brazil. The war broke out in Ukraine. We started helping refugees there. I went there during the war. So 2 years ago, I was there, right? So I crossed the border on foot, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's like air sirens going off, minefields. You drive by minefields that haven't been disarmed. And my wife, she's awesome. I was surprised. She was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go with you." And I'm like, "You sure you want to do that?" The kids were like freaking out, going, "Okay, if dad goes, he gets killed. At least we have mom, right?" And why are you both going? That's not wise. So we both went. It was awesome. I sort of like, I think there's something when you go through things like that, you get desensitized. You're not as afraid, but also you get excited about things like that a little bit. I sort of think that maybe war correspondents get the bug of danger and
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, let's go, man, and I think I have a little bit of that is probably not healthy.
Well, I think it's because of your upbringing, it kind of gave you a level of bravery, as you said. You're not afraid of,
Yeah, yeah,
I guess most would sort of second guess because you have a relationship to it and you have an understanding to it. So
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
there's a level of respect when you mentioned favelas and
yeah,
dating with them or working with them. Yeah, it's probably more fear, but because you know it and because that you've had that experience, you relate to it, so
yeah,
you can walk through that fire a lot easier than somebody,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
there are a lot of people who join the Peace Corps and they're regular upbringing, right, or at least
Hmm.
stable, and they have to sort of like grow into your shoes, and it's
Yeah,
hard
they
to
do.
do that when you don't come from it.
And they always come back if people do that, right? They always come back enriched, right? Like you
Yep.
hear that story, like, oh, I'll never forget this was transformative for me. Or people that go in the Navy, same thing, right? They have to adjust to different cultures and things, and they travel around, they get shipped to other places. They always come back going, you know what? That really helped me in life to
Yeah.
have a broader perspective.
Yeah, there's a power in facing that fear, right? You come
Yeah, yeah,
most enlightened, you know.
yeah. There's that. There's cultural exposure to different cultures, worldviews. You become a little bit more open-minded. You become much more pluralistic in your views, right? You can accept other people's opinions. So that's really helpful, I think, in life and business and friendship. Um, and I think just in language itself is massively cool, right? I think there's studies that show that your brain gets rewired in a different way if you speak more than one language. So I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I think it's true because there's certain things that the way I sort of think about it, people think it's weird. And I go, okay, I think the weird comes from that.
Yeah. No, when you are able to connect with somebody through language, I believe, no, I'm not a psychologist or
Hmm.
ever claimed to be, but I believe that it nets a very emotional response. Even just saying, the simple hi and thank you in
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
language, it just warms somebody to your embrace.
Hmm.
You're kind of taking
Yeah.
it in. So it's very vital. And you're right. I just wanted to, yeah, add to that.
And language reflects worldview as well, you
It
know?
does. It
Yeah,
does.
so it's really interesting when you can switch and you can learn a language, you start seeing the world from slightly different lens just because words have so much energy
Yeah.
and power, right?
Yeah.
So when you can switch, it's kind of interesting. And so I think learning a foreign language just for the sake of um, almost like you rewire your brain a little bit, you amplify it. I think it's definitely a good sex. And honestly, I'm not um, speaking from a perspective of, hey, I've arrived not from because I've never learned the language. I've actually like I absorbed it through my pores when I was a kid. So I was like, I totally cheated, right? So you, I didn't work for it,
Right.
and that was actually interesting because now I would be happy to learn the fifth one, but it's too much work. It's sort of a blessing and a curse, right? I'm
Right.
like, yeah, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Because the way you learned it was actually through real life experience.
Yeah, you're just
Apparently.
immersed in it. It's full immersion. Yeah. I actually used that method. Sort of I deconstructed, reverse engineer, and used the principle of immersive learning in my coaching now, which is kind of an interesting thing. Like I've sort of thought about it enough and go, okay, I think I can replicate this in with adults learning other things, not just language. And
Right.
so I use that all the time when I teach people, okay, this is how you can rewire and rethink things at an accelerated rate, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is, I think language, travel, cultural exposure, it's massively important. My dinner table when I was growing up was so strange from the outside because my dad would say something in Spanish and my mom would say something in Russian in response to his question or whatever. And because they all speak those languages, but it's the most comfortable language. Of course, she speaks Russian. He understands exactly, and we all understand. And then my sister and I would chime in Portuguese, for example, right? And it was like, and nobody batted an eye. It was totally normal. This is just how we communicated. And to make things worse, sometimes you say a language and literally mix two languages in one sentence because that one word is more accurate to describe the thing that you're trying to say.
So I'm assuming when your friends came over, they had no
Yeah.
idea what was going on.
No, it was just so bizarre. Yeah, it was so bizarre. And but it was sort of that was our normal basically at the time.
That's no, that's I like to hear that, and that's definitely inspiring and encouraging to others to probably pick up, maybe not four, but pick up
Yeah.
another language,
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
utilize it with your family. It is a
And the best way to do it is to go and stay for a few months.
yeah, do it
That's
and
that's 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 the best way. Otherwise, you'll forget. Otherwise, you just won't use it. Immersion is the way.
it is. I've taken quite a number of Spanish classes, and to be honest with you, I know them for the time, and then it washes right
Yeah, it
away.
just fades. Yeah,
If
it
you're not using
fades.
it, you lose it.
Yeah, yeah. So if you're immersed with it, that's the cool thing. If you're immersed in it, you don't lose it. So I speak all four languages just fine. My wife Deb, she's American. She moved to Russia to be with me, and we lived there for a few years together. She's still she has really good Russian because she didn't have a choice. She
Yeah.
just was immersed in it, and she had to learn the hard way. She cried for like every night for like a few months because it was just wrecking her brain. But eventually she got it, right? So she speaks it. It's like kind of cool. We would watch movies together now, and the Russians are always like the evil people there, like the mafia and American movies. And I turned to her and I'm like, "Isn't that cool that you know exactly what this guy said?" She was like, "Yeah, that's cool." You know?
Do you also impart this with your own children?
You know what? Yes and no. No with languages because I was lazy. And seriously, they will not stop harassing me about this. Uh, I was lazy, and it was laziness. The second thing is when they were all born over there, so we spoke English in the home so that they can absorb English, and the English became sort of the family language, the language of the heart. So when we moved to the States, it was so strange for me to switch because to me, family and English, that's it. That's the connection. So I should have been disciplined enough and just switched to Russian at home, so or Spanish, and they would have picked it up for sure. But I just didn't because I think I was just assimilating myself, and it just seemed so unnatural to me. So they speak the according to their age. My oldest Diana speaks Russian really well. My middle one a little bit. My youngest one, she was like 3 months old when we moved here. Nothing, right? So she knows some words and there's terminology and stuff like that, but otherwise she doesn't. Um, but what I did do well, I think, Deb and I, is that we invested in their travel since birth. So their whole lives, they've gone to glamorous places like Paris and, in Spain and Portugal, um, and really poor places like Mozambique, the slums in Mozambique, some poor areas where we're doing humanitarian work, things like that. So they've grew up with this incredible worldview of plurality of culture. They're none of them are entitled, I think, because of it, economically, financially entitled. So they're um, just exceptionally well-rounded human beings because of that. But their whole lives they traveled, and we invested a lot of money in that, and it's not cheap. Let's put it that way.
It's not cheap. It's a well worth investment because
It really
uh,
is, yeah.
you grow up when you are on the move, whether for whatever reason it is, there is a level of humility that you learn or you gain.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You're the bubble gets burst, you know,
Yeah,
from
Yeah.
where your local neighborhood is, you think that's
Yeah.
the world, and then when you finally get outside of that, you're seeing something bigger than yourself. You're seeing that there is a engine that is bigger than whatever.
Oh yeah. You feel so small,
Yeah, no,
you
you
know.
really are, and supposed to be.
Yeah, you feel so small. There's a world out there. There's people doing remarkable things and amazing things, and also suffering tremendously more than you're aware of. And I think that really, really helps it's just as human beings, it helps us feel connected to the world.
Right. You were in the Soviet Union. No, you lived in the Soviet Union until it I guess
Yeah,
just
it fell apart.
fell apart. Then where'd you go next? And did that lead into maybe university life, into early career?
The I got my college education in the Soviet Union, so I got a master's degree in economics
Okay,
there.
got it.
And I actually graduated the year the whole thing fell apart, which is kind of interesting because it gives me actually studied Karl Marx and free market, Adam Smith, all those things, and it was front row seat on why Marxism doesn't work, which sort of gives me a very strange perspective here in the United States where Marxism is sort of an in vogue thing, and it just horrifies me. I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about at all. And but it's become a sort of a buzz thing. Socialism, yeah, it hasn't been done right, and we can do it. And no, you won't. It does. It's a horrible, evil thing. So I actually wrote a book about it. I'm releasing in the fall called Little Book of Big Reasons to Love America. And it's basically 10 chapters, 10 reasons to love America, why I appreciate it. I think it's a special country, and why this is not normal, and how the contrast of my different experiences, from the standpoint of an immigrant, right? How Americans can really truly appreciate their country more if they knew that this is an exceptional place, and that the majority of people in the world live under authoritarian regimes today, 72%,
Yep.
5.8 billion, I think, something like that. So yeah, so that was an interesting thing, seeing that whole thing transpire. And eventually we moved to the States. Honestly, I wasn't really intending to, because I had a very successful music career in Russia post fall. Um, but Deb, who moved to be with me, she has some autoimmune issues, and the weather was just killing her. So we decided yeah, this is unsustainable. So we moved to the States because of it.
Yeah. And then so when you got to the States, you're planted here, and then I remember you mentioned you were a VP of a firm where you actually,
Yeah,
yeah, pretty
yeah,
much
charity.
charity, humanitarian works. Was that immediate, or did it was kind of like a little bit of stepping stones into there?
No, that was immediate because that organization I had collaborated with on a high level as a volunteer when I was in Russia. So it's an international charity. We did this massive events for orphans, 3,000 orphans plus. Like it's like a sports festival, then a big concert at the end. I was a I was a very successful pop artist at the time there.
Sure.
So I brought my celebrity friends, and we did this amazing show every once a year, basically. And Michael Jackson came to our to
Oh,
our event.
well,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. So we invited him, he came, we were shocked, right? And it was so cool, yeah, just unforgettable. And he was such a huge influence on my music career that I was like, I can't believe I'm in the same room with him. So so that same organization, when they found out I'm planning to move to the States, they offered me a job.
Beautiful, beautiful. How long were you there for?
I was there for 3.5 years,
Okay.
and then I sort of moved on, and I started a production company in LA, music videos and music production for international artists. So that was sort of that
Love it.
was the gig. Yeah, that was the gig.
Well, I was trying to get you to trying to see where the inspiration and the path into exponential life started, because it was
Oh,
I didn't know if it was right after the VP,
y-
the humanitarian works, but then you had
yeah.
a bit of a step. What led to exponential life?
What happened is when I was at the peak of my music career back in Russia, I I was literally playing sports arenas and had a number one hit, and I was clinically depressed. And So I that was like a big aha moment to me that you can be extraordinarily successful and gifted and talented and driven and have these flat sides that will like really mess with you, right? And I got him I had a mentor who he was a missionary pastor, a Canadian, and I was like, this guy's going to help me. So I asked him for help and he helped me. And he was basically my coach. And I treated him as not as a pastor, but as a coach. I'm like, Mr. Miyagi level stuff, right? Where I'm like, just tell me what to do and I'll do anything. And he would tell me what to do and it would work, right? And then tell me more and it would work. And it just really, like, it just blew my mind that, you can be extraordinarily successful in your career and have these flat sides that like haunt you, right? Like you keep running into the same problems over and over again. It really messes with your whole groove, basically. And if you have the right guidance, essentially, you just trust somebody who is ahead of you, who sees around corners where you don't see. It can just transform your level of success, well-roundedness, your joy, your creativity, all of it can stabilize you, can just propel you forward in a new way faster. So that really stuck with me, and I became really sort of geeked out on personal development, human flourishing. So, like for years and years and years, I would just read everything there is.
Yeah,
Then, when I started my podcast, I started interviewing people who were like the top experts.
yeah,
And also, I sort of attracted people like me, sort of these high achiever types, like ultra driven types who, they would see me and they were like, oh, you get me. And so I would mentor people like Olympic athletes and fashion designers and musicians and entrepreneurs over time, just organically, right? Because I had that thing, that gift. I get you, I know what to do. I know what to fix under the hood, and you'll be great. And eventually, it sort of became clear to me that even I was like doing it in Russia, and I'm like, I want to move to America. I was a celebrity there, so whatever. It's no one cares here who I am, and it's true, no one actually does care. But I still started attracting those people that right, entrepreneurs, startup founders, people like that. And eventually, I was like, you know what? I think that's the thing. I think I have a gift, and all the stuff that I've accumulated over the last 20 years, all the know-how, sort of the hacks, the life hacks, the rhythms that I practice for me because I'm a high performance guy, right? I want to do like everything really, really well. And so I've developed these things for myself and they work. And I found that, oh, I can actually teach people how to do this essentially and how to have this long lasting accelerated, extraordinary life without hitting unnecessary walls and
yeah.
crises and things like that. So that's what led to Exponential Life.
Wow. And to summarize, it seems like you touched on two different sort of missions where no man is an island, no individual is an island in sort of the coaching. And then on top of that, even though I have a saying of my family growing up, we were being saying that God balances you. So you can
Hmm.
always, nobody has everything. You can have a lot
Oh,
here,
oh,
but really at the
100%.
bottom, right? So
Oh, totally. God is fair. God is fair.
yeah,
He'll
right.
give you a lot of gifts. He'll give you a lot of gifts over here and he'll take away over here.
It's
So you
very
don't,
just.
oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like and he does it, I think, so that you would need other people, actually.
That's the whole point. That's the reason why
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
billion
Yeah.
people on this globe. And
Yeah. Yeah.
you are fulfilling one of those branches, one of those
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
and making sure that uh
Hmm.
the high achiever has somebody to
Yeah.
sort of who also understands, hey, look, I
Hmm.
get you're grinding over here, but we got to make sure certain areas don't
Yeah. Oh, totally.
alter so that you don't have those crises because we see it in in media, we see it in other
Oh, yeah.
areas, where
Yeah. It's so classic. It's just a classic
it
thing.
happens.
Yeah. It happens all the time. All the time.
In the travel community, that also is necessary too, because whether you're talking to the CEO who's traveling every day, they're not with the family, but maybe they're bringing home bacon, or you have the individual who's looking to circumvent the 9 to 5 life, and so they're doing this new social media hustle and whatnot. And it
Yeah,
may
yeah.
look good on TV or even the magazines or in this on your phone, but behind the scenes, when you talk to some of these individuals, you see like, there are some black holes in there that are like it's taken away from something else. So exponential life is necessary to
Yeah. Yeah.
many different sectors, but definitely the
hmm
travel sector as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Absolutely. I mean, wherever you are, wherever you go, there you are. That's the saying, right? You
My
can't outrun your problems.
You cannot. You cannot.
Yeah.
It is yeah, no matter what you are trying to achieve, uh
Yeah.
you're always gonna need to sort of take care of business
Absolutely.
on the
Absolutely.
inside, you know.
Especially if you want to succeed in the long run. If you want to succeed you can probably sprint and succeed on a high level for a short time.
That's true.
You can't really, but life is a marathon, and you're not going to succeed on a high level in a marathon
Yeah,
using the same tactics. It just doesn't work.
I agree. In your coaching experience, do you believe that to to be a high performing individual, travel is important to that sort of uh
Yeah, I mean, a breadth of perspectives, a breadth of experiences is important. Yes,
yeah,
along all levels, right? If you want to be successful long term and you don't read books, you're not going to be successful long term, period. So if you don't have a breadth of something feeding you all kinds of life experiences, expertise, insights, you're not going to be successful. If you don't have a breadth of relationships, you're not going to be successful. If you don't have a breadth of geographic experiences, you're not going to be successful because you don't see experience. You're going to be successful maybe in 1, 2 dimensions, but you're not going to be successful at the same level if you had exposed yourself to personal growth through travel, right? Cultural exposure. It's massively helpful, I think.
no, it is,
Mhm.
and I appreciate your words on that. Travel also touches into the sort of the missionary now. You're seeing a lot more just
Mhm.
in the sector where uh, vacations now match values. Where
Yeah,
now
that's
there's
right. Yeah.
a sense of
hmm
yes, we can go to the nice resort, but we also do want to
hmm
support small business there. We do want to jump into a food bank or something like that, where we're not just sort of,
Yeah.
leeching off the environment, but we're also, finding ways to give back more than what the
hmm
corporations would sort of
Yeah.
do. Are you
Yeah,
noticing that more in your practice?
I think so. And I think people enjoy it when somebody helps them. Okay, where do I invest? And I started an after school academy in Mozambique a few years ago because I had this sense. I understand charity work because I've worked professionally in the field for a few years, but I wanted to do something that has a little bit more of an entrepreneurial, more holistic approach. So we developed this concept where, look, these kids in the slums of Maputo, they live on under $2 a day. Families are not whole most of the time. The man is not in the house. They're brought up by the grandmother or whatever, like it's just broken all kinds of levels. Maybe 50% are HIV positive in those spaces. They have no access to computers, no access to people that are successful in professionally. Zero. They don't know anybody. They have zero contact of that concept with those people. So what we decided to do is to get a bunch of kids who are show a lot of promise, who show grit, show curiosity, and so we vet them, and then we put them on a program, and it's every day, 4 days a week. They after school they go to this place where there's middle class professionals who instruct them in values in life, spiritual values, moral values, teach them about their self-worth. So they teach them about how to see themselves in the world, and it's being taught by people that they have normally no contact with, right? So if a doctor says, "Hey, you can get out of this," they start believing it, and they give them English language skills and computer literacy skills, which none of those three things are present in their reality, right?
Yeah.
So we're betting on them starting to see themselves differently in the world and then
Right.
getting skills that are marketable skills. So we see our kids go from, I don't know what I'm going to do, to I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be an artist, I want to be a business person, right?
Right.
In a matter of like a few months to a year, they start thinking that way. It's kind of cool. So we go every couple of years and we travel and we take some of the donors that give us money to keep this thing going, and they get to spend time with the kids. We'll bring like a suitcase of stuff for the whole family, bring laptops, and
Yeah.
it's fun. So it's really cool to travel that way. And you can attach a very fancy safari to either end, and
Right. Yeah.
which we do basically, so it's kind of cool to do both, right?
No, it
To
is.
your point.
A small moment of time can mean a lot to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
anybody, and especially in Mozambique, which is a beautiful country. I surf often. I know a lot of surfers who do
Oh,
love
really?
Mozambique. Yeah,
I didn't realize it was a surfing destination. That's
yeah.
awesome.
It's a bit of a surfing destination. It's I would say it's a hidden treasure. It's not supposed
Uh-huh.
to be known
Yeah.
like that yet because eventually once it becomes super popular, then it like really gets out of hand.
Yeah. Touristy, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's a diving destination too. I think I'm gonna do some diving next time I go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
because there's some sharks out there. So-
Yeah, there are some sharks there for sure. Yeah. So I just got scuba certified recently, so now I'm like I have that lens
Oh,
that
snap.
I'm looking for a location for good diving.
Okay. Well, I guess I do know South Africa has a lot of good diving spots.
Yeah, yeah.
From what I've been told from that community, that seems to be one of the top destinations
Hmm.
as well. So you're not far from there. Uh,
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
but yeah, no, being that, empowering people is part of your mission, seeing what you're doing in Mozambique is very commendable, and it's very focused. And
Hmm.
I noticed that, and I wanted to know if that's something that you impart in your coaching as well,
Hmm.
to be a focused individual, to be somebody who is yes, determined for whatever financial reasons, but and also maybe impact reasons, but also to be somebody who is giving back in a way,
Yeah.
not all about self, but focused in a multifaceted way.
Yeah, I think I teach people to be successful holistically. And you cannot be successful holistically if you're not generous and you don't serve others. You just can't. Seriously, and it's just true. Show me a person who's made, 40 million dollars by selling a tech company, and they don't do philanthropy, they don't serve in very specific ways, and I'll show you a person who's miserable. Guaranteed, 100%. It's
Yeah,
just unnatural for us to not share. So, as a matter of fact, I would say it's a precondition to success.
yeah, I
Uh,
like that.
and you might not have all the money, but you can have time, right? If you don't have money, you have time. If you don't have time, you have time, you have money, you have treasure, right? Your talent, your treasure, your um, talent, treasure, and time. Those three T's.
Yeah.
The things that you care about, you invest all three in, 100%, right? So if you care about people that they're just disadvantaged, you'll invest all three.
Yeah.
You'll invest some talent, some money, and some time. Now, you might not have a lot of money, but you have time and talent, so you can invest those. And I would say you will become more successful if you do that up front.
Mhm.
So I tell my clients before you have a big exit, before you make your $1 million or so, decide where you're going to give, and where you're going to give a lot, like 10%.
Yeah.
Where you're going to tithe.
Yeah.
And people that do that, they really flourish, I think. I've when I started the academy, I had no money to do it actually. Like it's not like I was like I had an exit. I'm like, sure, I'm gonna give, I'm gonna start this thing. No, no, no. I had no money actually. I was in between things. I just felt a calling, a prompting to do it because I sort of had this, I think I have the secret sauce on how to help kids in that way specifically. So I made it happen. I went there, I convinced people, I pleaded with people on that side that are going to do a lot of the work as volunteers, by the way. Then I pleaded people here, hey, give me some money because we're going to do this interesting thing. And I made it happen and it's working.
Right.
And it's not because I was like trying to figure out what to do with extra money. I didn't have it actually, so but it's there, it's alive, and now kids are benefiting.
And the truth is, you didn't need it because the doors are going to open regardless.
Yes, you start doing it,
Yeah.
things happen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beautiful part. You're right. No,
Yeah.
uh, um, there's always a way to give back. Look, there's no matter what in any sense, you can always be a blessing. It doesn't
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
time, money, or even
Hmm.
right? Um, so yeah, no, I can agree and I attest to that, and I appreciate that in the travel community that we're not just traveling places for the sake of, the picture, traveling places for the sake of our own sort of own glory, but we are traveling places to where we can give back in a way that
Yeah.
changes somebody's life, in one or in one or many.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's right.
so what's next for Exponential Life? What's on the horizon?
uh I think a lot actually. I'm very excited about it because sort of these accumulated 25 years of both experience, expertise, helping others. There's something in the way we're helping people that sets them up for extraordinary lives. And basically, my dream is to see sort of a community of an exponential tribe, essentially, of people that start living this out. They get the skills, the habits to live, reach some high goals, and they help each other. They help their families. They they band together to start businesses. So the next step, I think, is building a community that's, a few hundred people who sort of hang out every once in a while. We want to do retreats, things like that, um, for that to sort of grow and continue to nurture that kind of spirit in people.
I like that. It grows exponentially.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
I'm dating myself a bit, but I went to university for mathematics, and so
Oh, did you?
that means infinite. It's got to go on
Yeah,
forever.
yeah, yeah. That's what I like the word. And obviously, strictly mathematically, that's not how things happen for people in coaching. But when it comes to the sentiment of it,
Yeah,
right? That it's accelerating, expanding.
yeah,
I believe we're created for growth, human beings. And when we sort of stop growing or stagnate, it just seems unnatural to me. I think we sort of wither if
yeah.
we stop moving and expanding. And I see too many people withering and completely unnecessarily. So, I want to help people, rediscover how they were meant to be, basically.
Yeah, bring them back to like their true sense, their true essence.
That's right. Yeah. Hmm.
I Yeah, no, you're right. The moment you stop challenging yourself, that's the moment you really start aging. And you really,
Yeah.
the perfect word you said was wither. Yeah, because it's a slow burn.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's it.
Yeah. It's just not natural either. I don't think we're meant to function that way.
Wow. Okay. Before we let you go, because we know you have a busy day ahead of you, we ask these pay me in plane tickets questions to kind of see where you fall on the spectrum. So
Okay.
let's see if
Hit
we can
me.
get you.
Hit me. Hit me.
All right. So if you were to be paid in plane tickets, which airline are you choosing?
I would do probably Qatar Airlines.
It's all right. Those, yeah, those are really nice. Those are really nice. We understand
Those,
that.
yeah, I mean, they do it well, man.
It's been a fight between Qatar, Emirates, and Delta so far. So you're
Is that
part,
right? Yeah,
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 you're part of the pack. When you
yeah.
do travel, are you choosing Airbnb or hotel?
100% Airbnb.
Oh,
Yeah,
100%. Okay. Oh, wow.
100%
First.
Airbnb. Yeah, yeah. It's because and sometimes hotel, if it's a quick thing, fine,
Yeah.
conference or something, right? But Airbnb because you want to be immersed.
Yeah.
You want the real experience. You want to go to a local store, to the market. You want to walk the streets.
Uh,
That's why I don't do cruises because of that, because you don't get that.
I don't do cruises either. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels disconnected.
It really does. Yeah,
Yeah.
like doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. And
So yeah, Airbnb is fantastic.
yeah, no, 100% right. The A lot of countries are starting to slow down a lot of ports opening for cruises. It's not healthy.
Hmm.
Um, when you do travel, Do you use a special travel credit card, debit card for your points and miles?
I do, yeah. I do the Chase Sapphire.
Chase
So
Sapphire. Okay. That's
yeah,
a yeah, that's part of the
the
family. Yeah, there it is.
yeah. So it's basically like it's like the Visa analogy of the Platinum MX.
Yes. Yes.
It's Chase Sapphire something something. I think it was like I don't freak. Oh, what is it? I need to remember. But it's like this metal heavy thing. Sapphire Reserve, that's what it is.
For
Yeah.
reserve. Okay. It's the
Yeah,
cool
I can hurt somebody with this thing. I can fling
it's a
it.
crime deterrent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's
When
gorgeous.
actually I saw this next one when before you had children, did you when you traveled was it carry on or check bag?
It was you know what? I think it was check back
Oh, it was check bag.
yeah, most of the time. Well, because I'm married and
Oh,
uh,
okay.
you
Yeah.
know, women they need their stuff basically. So
I got you on that one. All right, so definitely check back, even on the other side of the aisle. Uh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we talked about a lot of good things about travel, but
Yeah.
do you have a travel pet peeve?
Um, I think yeah, I mean it's everybody's pet peeve, right? When they cancel your flight and you there's like a domino effect. That's the pet peeve that everybody, not just one, but it's like a chain reaction of flights that need to be canceled, reroute. Oh, those are the worst, you know.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, once when one gets canceled, then they all end up sort of falling.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the worst. Yeah.
I feel bad for anybody who got stuck in the crowd strike.
Oh
Sort of
my gosh. That was terrible.
that was,
Yeah.
that was a day. That was
That
a
was rough. That was rough. Yeah.
yeah. I was the one day I was very thankful I was home.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you do travel, are you choosing the window, aisle, or middle seat?
I choose the seat that my wife gives me because I choose the seat that makes her happy. So
Smart move.
I think if she doesn't care, I choose the window. I like the window.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it's window,
Yeah.
but it's not it's the wife choice by default.
It's contingent on her happiness. Yes.
All right,
Her
like
happiness is my priority, basically.
I love it. I love it. Okay, if you had to travel to one location for the rest of your life, where would it be and why? Now, there is a cop-out answer because a lot of people struggle on this one. Uh,
Okay.
I'm gonna let you struggle for a few seconds, and then let me know when you wanna bail.
So so if I go to one place and I stay there, that's it. That's my final destination. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so you can only travel to one place. So you can so from Texas to one place.
Mhm. Interesting. Um, and you stay there, right? Is
Well,
that
no, you can come back to Texas, but you can only travel.
you mean there's only one place you can go back and forth to?
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
that the context? I would probably say then probably Playa del Carmen, Mexico.
Ah,
And I'll tell you why. It's because you're in the Caribbean and you're in the Caribbean. If you can get to travel back to Austin, it's 2.5 hours, one flight.
that's it.
You're not even tired. You know,
Yes.
there's no jet lag, no nothing. And you're like in a different world.
You know what? I'm gonna keep that in mind. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's
I'm over
right
here.
here.
Yeah, okay. I'm over here in New York, so that's a little bit of a
A little bit, yeah.
yeah.
But to me, like, think about it, right? You can be literally in the tropics in 2.5 hours. Like you won't even get out of Texas driving for that long, you know?
That's true.
And you're in a different world completely. And the Caribbean is my happy place,
Yeah,
just water in general, right? So in that sense, if I can go back and forth and that's the only place I can go, I'll probably choose that because of that reason.
that's a very good choice and a very good reason. I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna keep that in mind. And yeah, no, Playa del Carmen is a very beautiful destination. So
Yeah, yeah.
not it's not a toss up. It's a pretty good spot you picked.
It is, yeah. It's right here. I mean, it's so cool. Yeah.
It seems like you favor the shorter trips, the shorter flights, and then
Yeah, because I do so many long ones. Like we're going to Mozambique next year and it's like 21 hours or something like that, you know. And I travel just fine in those. But if I your specific question was where would you go back and forth? And it's the only place. Like I'll definitely not. I'm not going to choose being jet lag all the time, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So so I would strategically choose Playa del Carmen because of that.
Very smart. I like the thinking. You kind of deduced it very nice.
Yeah,
All right, last one. Where is your next flight to? Where are you traveling off to next?
my next, I think it's Costa Rica. I have some friends who have been like they've been like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. But they're the ones making the decision when, so I don't know when, but I
Okay,
think it's going to be Costa Rica. Yeah.
Costa Rica. And it's like
Uh,
this year,
I
Costa
think
Rica?
this year,
Yeah.
yeah, and possibly Chile next year, January, like pretty quickly because my I want to see my dad. I haven't seen him in a few years, and he's like refusing to come here because he says I'm too old to travel to Texas, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think so, but okay, I'll come to you.
Wow. No, no, no. Chile is it's on the list for me, honestly.
Is
So
it? Yeah,
yes, it is. I definitely want to make my way over there. Can't complain.
it's pretty.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's one of those spots. But yeah, Costa Rica does sound nice. A lot of people do go, and a lot of people love it. It's a jungle, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I've never been, so I'm excited to check it out, Costa Rica.
There's great surf over there too. So if you
Is
do,
there? Oh, oh.
yeah, definitely. I don't know about diving, but it may be. I don't know. Christian, I'm so glad to have you on. I want to give you back your time. This was very informative. Also, it was very helpful because what you do does directly relate to how we live. And I
Yeah,
think your mission is to make us all better, to make every individual better and live in an exponential way. And that is
that's
something
right.
uh,
Yeah.
I honestly can honor it and I respect it. So I'm glad to have you on the podcast. I know our listeners are going to love it. You got to come back when version 2 comes out, whenever.
Yeah.
The
Sure.
next to maybe want to announce like the young children in Mozambique who are now become doctors and they're also
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
opportunities and everything and in any way possible. So I'm just glad to have you have graced this space here. Honestly, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, man. It's an honor. Thank you.
Before you go, I would like to ask you guys to follow Christian Ray Flores and his newsletter Headspace at christianrayflores.com. This is a wonderful newsletter. It talks about career and calling and human flourishing. Everything you heard on this podcast can all be summarized and even expounded on through his newsletter Headspace. That is again Headspace by Christian Ray Flores. You can follow at christianrayflores.com.